So there's this really interesting thing called identity. And when we encounter it in our own lives, we are expected to have a whole and complete understanding of it that we apply to ourselves so that we can operate through the world as rational, insane, and balanced and well-adjusted adult human beings. And I think that this is baloney, bullcrap, doesn't work. And that is because I think identity is fluid. And the thing that I'm going to talk about this video is how that fluidity comes into play with regards to being an artist and what the heck that means. So, hello, my name is Prismantis. We've spoken. I totally accidentally deleted some footage and was going to upload a different video today, and I can't find it, and I'm going to have to record something different. So you don't get a scripted video today. You don't get a scripted video today. You get me rambling about identity. I'm entertaining and I'm very cool. So being an artist, oh God, that's called a profession. And if anybody ever says, well, you're an artist and that is who you are, that's your identity, they're crazy. They're crazy cuckoo and cuckoo for coconuts. And I don't believe them. I don't buy that. I think that every human being alive, capable of sentience and thought, is an artist. I think that this is not a unique opinion. It's definitely not something that I made up, right? I think that this is a philosophy that a lot of people have carried through history. Every human person is capable of art, and therefore they are artists. And society is something that exponentially enables art, because the more that we bounce ideas off of each other, the more that we bounce culture and constructs and philosophies and imagery and symbols off of each other, the more art gets complicated and cultural and nuanced, and the more easily you can create something that is divorced from reality, right? Representing something from reality is not the same thing as one-to-one creating something identical from that reality. And the process of representation is artistic. And everybody can represent artistically. All you have to do is draw an apple. And if all you can do is draw a circle, boom, you've freaking made art. Okay, that's a representation. It's an abstraction. You thought about it. You put it into paper. It's art, okay? Don't be pretentious. And the hole that we fall into, especially online, more that we get into these communities that have, artists of Instagram, artists of Twitter, artists of Tumblr in big bold letters or in hashtags or something, like the second that you append it to yourself, it can feel like a badge. It can feel like something that you can be proud of, that makes you distinct from other people in society, that makes you distinct from people who might even be your peers, who admire you for your skill, right? Who think that you are a different kind of person than them because of your skill, because you have artists of Tumblr as a badge on your page or whatever, right? You're not different from that person. You guys are twinsies, You're people in a society who are using your observational skills every single day to make choices and decisions that have manifestations on paper or on an Excel document or something. You're both creating things that you use your sapient minds to make. The difference being, you probably have a lot more time of your day and a lot more, a lot bigger piece of pie, of the total pie of your life that you put to doing that, whereas your friend only does that on occasion. I think that distinction is only the distinction between a hobbyist and a professional, or the same distinction as somebody who is passively a consumer of something or passively an appreciator of something, and somebody who does it as a hobby. So there's two kind of level ups of how much time you apply to that given thing. The thing is, everybody has that skill. Everybody has that as a part of the makeup of being a human person. And the more that you rely on, well, I'm an artist, the more diluted your art can be. Because what are you actually saying? What are you actually doing? Are you having fun? Are you even enjoying yourself? Or are you making stuff for other people to look at? Are you dependent entirely on an audience? That's not an artist, that's an entertainer. And they're the same thing in the fundamental thing that they do, right? The output, the product. They're both art as products, but the definitions are different. The vibe is different. The vibe is off, right? You don't want to be so reliant on being an artist within your community or within your social circle that people start kind of treating you like, like a monkey that's dancing around gunshots around your feet. That's a precarious relationship to have with your art. I think that everybody goes through a phase, especially if they're like artists as adults. Everybody goes through a phase where they were the artistic one in high school and everybody wanted to clamor and go to them whenever there was like a project that needed some artistic flair or whatever. But everybody who wasn't like the artist of the class, everybody who wasn't you still had the capacity to do what you did. They just kind of didn't feel like doing it. And maybe they weren't interested in it, but they had that capacity, right? And plenty of people who had flair for design, right? Who maybe didn't create illustrations, but who used design skills, made their projects look prettier in a way that reflected their inner skill at design. Maybe that was redundant. You know what I'm trying to say. The consequence of treating yourself differently, fundamentally as a human being from everybody else, because you are an artist, is that what happens if something happens to you and you don't make art? What happens if something happens to you and you can never make art for the rest of your life? What happens if you fall into depression and you don't make art for 5 years? What happens if you go through something really harrowing emotionally and you can't bring yourself to make art for, even stretches of time as long as 10 years? I think that the more that we attach a quantifier of product to the identity of artist, the less whole we feel as artists, the less satisfied we feel as artists when the expectations do not align with what we've construed as the definition of the identity. It's not like there's a checklist that you have to meet. It's not like there's somebody who's coming to inspect how much of an artist you're being, right? Sometimes I wish there was so that I could work more. But I don't think that it helps anyone if you are increasingly hard on yourself because you're not getting recognition and that diminishes your self-definition as an artist, or if you're not producing enough art and that diminishes your, or if you're not receiving notoriety financially, or if you're not receiving an income for your art, you don't consider yourself an artist. Like there's all these things that we presuppose of artists. And I don't think that that's necessary because we all can be artists. We all can make art. It came with your humanity. That's an excellent tweet. I'm quoting right now. I can't remember who made it. Oh, hello, doggy. You know what I'm trying to say, though. You know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I fell into this hole a while ago. Really deep, dark, dank, disgusting waste pit. And I have only recently been able to see a light at the end of that waste pit. And not a not insignificant portion of traveling out of that pit I owe to changing the definition of what an artist is to me in my perception. The more that I allowed it to be something that was hovering above me, but not the core of me, the less guilty I felt when something I did not live up to that expectation. This is crazy coming from somebody who did not go to college for art. I went to college for something STEM related. I went to college to be a scientist. And I have a degree that says I could be a good scientist if I just got a job in it. But oh my God, this is not going to happen in this economy. Which is, we're wondering why I'm so committed to being an artist. Girl, there's nothing else. Girl, what's going on in the world? Girl, if I'm going to be on fire if I'm gonna burn with the rest of everything, I might as well make something beautiful during the time that I have, right? And if that's the definition of artist that you settle on, I think that's the best we're ever gonna get. Is you have to make something beautiful during the time that you're alive. So go have fun, go apply your hobbies towards that sentiment, and make sure that every single thing that you make, you made from a place of, I'm sitting down and I want to enjoy this, or I'm sitting down and I want to reach a place where I will be. Don't rely on anyone else to give you that enjoyment. Don't let anybody siphon the enjoyment out of that process. Social media is really good. It's also kind of scary. So don't let it artifact everything that you make into something unrecognizable so that you can get notifications. Anyways, this was a painting of an angel character that my friend ordered as a commission. And it's a seraphim, I think, a seraphim inspired character as signaled by the multitude of wings. And I had a lot of fun illustrating this character. This was an example of a piece where I felt that it would be beneficial to the final product to go back in and color in some of the line art to give it the impression of something lineless, so that it felt a little bit more intentional, and so that the rim lighting would have a stronger effect overall in the outline of the figure, the silhouette of the figure. And I think that was a really good decision. You can see how I started with a kind of janky pose, developed it into a nicer pose, thought I had a good color palette, got feedback from the commissioner, chose a different color palette, and from that point on, it was pretty intuitive. Thank you for watching. I have a Patreon that you can visit if you want to see early access to some final pieces, works in progress, some mild tutorials. Most of my tutorials are going to be up on my YouTube, but I do intend to have some one-pagers going up on. You can also join a Discord server if you subscribe to the $5 here. Doggy, and you can watch me live stream, and sometimes you can vote on polls to see what I draw that month. And I've also opened an Etsy store. Oh my gosh. And I'm listing one product a day for the foreseeable future, for forever, ever, by which I mean really basically like 100. And I will be updating you pretty regularly on what I post on there. So be on the lookout. Most of it is fantasy stuff and like Critical Role stuff for now, but it'll expand into more fandom stuff, more non-fandom stuff. You'll see. Thank you again for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and tell me what your relationship to art is. Did you go through the same things that I did, where you had to rapidly on the fly change your definition to make sure you weren't going to burn out and die? Or were you mellow from the beginning, and do you not have any expectations on yourself? In which case, you are Buddha. You are enlightened. Please shine some of that light on the rest of us. Thank you. See you around.